Those questions Robert Mueller reportedly wants to ask President Trump. The New York Times first reporting some 4 dozen questions that they say were read to the president's legal team. Questions about the firing of Michael Flynn, James Comey, the Trump Tower meeting, and what seems to be a direct question about possible collusion, asking if the president knew about outreach to Russia for potential help by members of his own campaign. The president tonight calling the leak of these questions disgraceful. But who gave those questions out? Tonight, we go down the list, the questions most telling and what they mean. ABC's Mary Bruce leading us off.
It's a list of nearly 50 probing questions special counsel Robert Mueller has for President Trump. Lines of questioning Mueller shared with Trump's own legal team. The list now published by the New York Times and what the president is now calling a disgraceful leak.
Russian collusion. Give me a break.
Trump insists Mueller's list has no questions on collusion, but that's not true. The special counsel has questions about Paul Manafort, once the president's campaign chairman. According to the Times, Mueller wants to ask Trump what knowledge did he have of any outreach by his campaign, including by Paul Manafort, to Russia about potential assistance to the campaign. Mueller also wants to ask the president, when did you become aware of the Trump Tower meeting? That infamous sit-down Don Jr., Jared Kushner, Manafort, and Russians they were told had dirt on Hillary Clinton. He said there is no question on collusion, but when you look at these specific questions about outreach by the campaign to Russia, aren't these questions about collusion?
Once again, I'm not going to get into a back and forth about questions leaked or anything having to do with the special counsel, and I would refer you to the president's attorney.
Much of Mueller's list centers on possible obstruction of justice by the president. The special counsel wants to know what efforts were made to reach out to Trump's fired national security advisor Michael Flynn about seeking immunity or possible pardon. And what did Trump mean when he said this about firing his FBI director James Comey?
When I decided to just do it, I said to myself, I said, you know, this Russia thing with Trump and Russia is a made-up story.
And when Trump told Russian diplomats in this Oval Office meeting that firing Comey had taken the pressure off, what did he mean by that? Another question Mueller wants answered, what discussions did the president have regarding terminating the special counsel?
Mary Bruce joins us tonight live from the White House. And Mary, there's also news tonight about former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn. He's already, of course, taken a plea deal with Robert Mueller. He's cooperating in the investigation. But you're learning tonight his sentencing could be delayed. What's the bottom line? What does this mean?
David, Mueller's team and Flynn's lawyers are asking for another 60 days before sentencing Flynn for lying to the FBI. It's a clear sign that Flynn is still cooperating with the special counsel and that they don't want any sentencing to get in the way of that. David.
Mary Bruce leading us off from the White House. Mary, thank you. I want to bring in ABC's chief legal analyst, Dan Abrams. Dan, always great to have you here with us. A lot of people at home, I think, are going to ask, if Robert Mueller wants to ask the president these questions, why would he reveal the questions in the first place? But you're saying prosecutors often do this.
Yeah, it's not unusual. The goal is not to stump him. This is what happens when you're negotiating whether to have someone sit down. And keep in mind, they could ask follow-up questions. There are additional questions that could be asked. This doesn't mean that it's everything.
This would be an outline, per se.
Right.
In the meantime, the president says the leak of these questions is, quote, disgraceful. But we know that Mueller's team gave the questions to President Trump's legal team. So how do we know where the questions came from?
Well, there's every indication that this came from the Trump team and not from the Mueller team. You look at the New York Times reporting itself. It says that they read the questions to Trump's team and that it was given by someone outside of Trump's lawyers, which suggests and sort of clearly indicates that it came from someone in Trump's camp, not from Mueller.
And bottom line tonight, Dan, does the president really have to do this interview with Robert Mueller at all?
He does not. He's under no obligation to do it. If he doesn't, it's possible that Robert Mueller could try and subpoena him to testify in front of a grand jury, but I don't expect that would happen.
All right, Dan Abrams with us tonight as well. Dan and Mary, thank you.